Hello and welcome to yet another scene by Vampire by Gaslight. Today, well, later in the same evening as the previous scene, once the Trant has made it back to his hospital, he is able to acquire the telephone and after getting through to a maid and then being handed to a footman and then being taken with a rather long cord to Miss Angelique, he actually gets through to the person he is trying to contact. Good evening, Sir Trant.
Good evening, Miss Rosemont. I wish to inquire about the state of the city and if you heard anything concerning a uh, snake in our city. Uh, it may be just imagery of a snake or something involving a snake, but yes.
Delightfully vague. Um, well, there is nothing that I have heard of. I will certainly inquire of the other members of my family regarding it, but I'm afraid that we do not get a great deal of snakes other than vipers, of course.
Mm. It's true. I wouldn't ask, except I believe that the source I'm getting this from uh, may be suspect in some things, but I think if I'm reading her correctly, she's some type of medium, and she feels that some sort of snake is coming after uh, some sort of people. Uh, it looks like one person may have already been killed by this snake. So,
Well, the only death I am personally aware of is the one that we were investigating with our Tremere friend.
yes, and there
I
were
do
any.
know that some people refer to the Tremere as snakes for their history, to
Hmm,
put it delicately.
yes. Well, hmm, maybe. But there have been others that have been called snakes as well.
Quite a deal. It does seem to be rife with imagery.
Yes. I.
Satan, for example.
Hmm?
Satan, for example, in the Garden of
Ah,
Eden.
yes. Um, hmm. Then is it possible that she's referring to? No. Deb, out of character. Would I have heard uh, at least something about the Bali?
No, you would not have heard of the
Okay.
Bali.
All right then.
Um,
Satan? Could that be what
you
she's
could
referring?
possibly have heard of demons, but not enough to have the slightest clue that they're real.
Okay.
You've heard of them, but only in the same way that you have heard of the Tooth Fairy and heard of Father Christmas.
Hmm.
Of course, you'd heard of vampires, so you probably won't rule them out, but you're not going to be jumping to them as a conclusion.
Well, anyway, uh, if
Of course, there is one clan that is more closely related with snakes than any other. But, as I said, the moniker is rather common. Just because it is more appropriate for one person than another doesn't mean that it would necessarily apply to them. And especially
right.
if you expand it to imagery, because then, of course, you have to take into account that it might not be the imagery of a clan, it might be the imagery of an individual.
Mm,
Perhaps their
right.
house has the symbology of the snake.
Anyway, I was hoping that maybe you'd heard something as in city business or something that I haven't heard of, being that you're so close to the is out of character. Is the Duchess the Seneschal or the Harpy?
She's the harpy.
Okay, I
And you
was
would know the
hoping.
Rosemonts also get on fairly well with the prince. A bit
All
less
right,
closely, but they do get on fairly well with him.
I was hoping the fact that you're so close to the Harpy, you might have heard something that maybe I can add or assist with. But yes, it seems that the biggest problem is that our Tremere problem. Um, have you and Mr. Fortescue discussed anything? Or
I believe Christian intends to retrieve the item,
hmm,
but if I'm honest, I think it's more important to ascertain where it came from.
right? The biggest problem is that the unfortunately I don't know of any other Tremere, and I am not well versed in occult matters.
Ah, see there is something that I can help you with.
Oh,
There are two other Tremere in the city,
hmm,
at least declared ones. And whilst he might not be willing to let us take the doll from him, he quickly forgets. We may be able to ask him or to find some way to contact the other two.
hmm. So,
Of course, I could see about attempting to find that information through other means, but I'm afraid that would probably cost you a boon. Um, but if you're able to contact either of them under your own initiative,
right, I'll give it a try first. But it is uh, it is good to know that there are more.
yes,
Okay then.
two more that are acknowledged by the prince.
Hmm. Um, I assume that there I could at least have their names, or
It's entirely unreliable when it comes to the regent's name.
mhm.
I severely doubt it's his real name,
Okay.
but he does go by a Mr. D, I believe. Mr. D.
Okay.
D-E-E.
Hmm. Interesting.
And um, Miss Lovelace. Miss Adeline Lovelace, I believe.
Hmm. Miss Adeline Lovelace. Yes, that seems something that could be worked with. Anyway, if I get a hold of her or figure out how to ask our uh, bewitched Tremere friend how to get in contact with her, I'll let you know.
Splendid.
Anyway, please let Christian know I am asking after this subject and if he has any counsel for me.
I'll pass the
Uh,
message along when he's finished with his fencing.
all right. Let him know that I think that the doll should only be handled by those who feel no close connection to it, like no mm, feelings of possession, for another word.
I'll let him know.
Okay,
I'm not sure he'll listen on that one, but we can hope.
right. And I wouldn't destroy it outright because it still has some sort of. It seems to have some sort of connection with our bewitched Tremere.
Yes, it could be troublesome.
Anyway, uh, thank you for allowing me to speak to you on this wonderful wired device.
Yes, it is quite marvellous the way the technology is developing, don't you agree?
Mm-hmm. Anyway, uh, thank you very much, and please enjoy the rest of your evening.
You as well, Sir Trant.
Goodbye.
Oh, before you go,
Yes.
the the Duchess seems to have a message for you.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, um, yes. Ah, I see. She says she's glad that you've taken on a new employee.
I see. I am a little surprised she knows about that, but yes, I did.
She says that it's something to do with the butler. I don't know.
I see. Well, thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
And with a click of a phone, there, I believe the scene will end.